So you ready to hang out with me today? You ready to hang out with me today? Yes or no? All right, you guys, welcome back to another vlog. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. If you're new here, my name is Keela Trishan, and I make videos on lifestyle, insurance, and mental health. I also do vlogs, day in the life of the insurance industry, day in the life of the small child, all the things. That's something that interests you, go on ahead and click that subscribe button below. Turn on your notifications so you don't miss anything from me. And if you're returning, thank you so much for coming back, and thank you for your support. Alrighty, so today I am working, but I'm home with the kid. He doesn't feel that well, so he asked to stay home from school. And honestly, it's summer camp, so there's like a week and a half left before the actual school year starts. So why not? Go on ahead, stay home, feel better, chill out, all that jazz. With that said, my routine is going to be a little bit different because I have to make sure I account for him. So meal times are going to include the both of us. I'm going to have to, make sure that he's good with snacks, make sure that he's good with activities while mommy tries to get her work done. So right now, it is a few minutes before I actually officially clock in at 7:30. I'm going to make both of us some breakfast. If you've been watching, I typically have just a smoothie in the morning, a blueberry smoothie with some oats and protein and collagen and all that jazz. And then for him, I usually make him just like some scrambled eggs and some fruit. So this morning he'll have scrambled eggs and we have grapes, so he'll have that. So yeah, I'm gonna go on ahead and get started, but just wanted to, introduce the vlog. So, if y'all interested to see what's going on, stay tuned. All right, you guys. So I finally got my smoothie together and all that jazz. Now I logged in prior to starting breakfast so I could like load everything. And the first thing I do is open up my emails. If you've been watching me for a while, that's what I do. I check my emails and I check my desktop to see what I have planned for the day. And let's just say it's already starting. It's already starting. So I have a customer that I kind of explained this in a few vlogs ago. This customer was trying to get me to agree to release all of his personal property limits because there was confirmed lead and there were like a couple of other like metals that were found in the home, but it was in the dust. Since there was a lot of total losses, there was a lot of dust because it was windy and all that. So there was contaminants found in the dust, which requires an abatement. We've gotten an abatement estimate, like we've done all that. He is not in agreement. He had another vendor do a counter estimate. That's cool. Basically, what he wanted to do, he wanted us to pay him out his full content limits, despite the fact that we haven't done an inspection of the contents, which is a requirement. And I professionally shut him down. I'm like, yeah, no, that the people that had a total loss, there was a different way we were handling their contents because they couldn't tell us every single thing they had. So there were guidelines for paying them like the majority of their contents limits. It wasn't even 100%, but it was a majority of it. For the people that had a partial loss or that had smoke and ash, we were sending out vendors to take inventory of the items that were there. And then based on the protocols of the testing company was how we would handle it. Obviously, case by case basis. So some things the testing company might say we could wash, a certain way, but if the customer wasn't comfortable with it, and depending on what it was, we could make the exception and pay the customer out for it. All that being said, this guy wanted us to waive the inspection by the content vendor and just simply total out all his items and pay him his limits. Absolutely not. That's not how this works. So we got over that hurdle. Now he's reaching out asking about the testing. So the questions that he's asking, like without me getting super into detail, questions that he's asking are not adjuster questions. They are geared towards a testing vendor. Yes, honey.
This Grenadizers had it taste so it tasted sour.
Okay, baby. Let me film this, okay? This is what happens when you work at home with a kid. You just got to roll with it. You got to answer their little questions. Okay, so this guy, he has questions about the clearance. So once cleaning is complete, we send out the testing vendor to do a clearance to make sure that the home is now back below, whatever the levels are for the particular contaminant. So he's asking for like specific numbers, which I would not know because I am not a testing vendor. I would have surface level information. I know how to read the reports, but I can't speak the science to you because that is not my forte. I am an adjuster. I do policy. I write estimates. I don't do testing. So the first time he sent me questions, I took those questions. I forwarded the email to one of our testing vendors. The problem is the vendor that he was using in the beginning, or the vendor that we sent out, they're no longer on our program. So I used another vendor that's on our program to answer his questions. So that vendor reached out to me, gave me the answers. I copied and pasted it, said, hey, these questions were geared towards the testing vendor. I sent it to the testing vendor. Here are the answers. He responds back. I want to say this was like last week when we had that whole correspondence. He hadn't said anything. He emails me back last night at like 11:30 p.m. So this was serious. And he has a spreadsheet. And he basically says he doesn't understand why we use a different vendor than the one that we initially sent out. Two, he doesn't feel like the answers covered all of the questions, whatever. So I emailed that to my supervisor, like, what do you want me to do? Because in all honesty, I don't feel like I owe someone who's not my boss a spreadsheet. Like, if I'm just going to be completely honest, I don't like you're pushing it, and I understand what you're trying to do, but that is not a part of like what we do. And then also the ramifications. Like, if I, as this company's employee, put my name down saying that this is what we require, it almost puts us on the hook. Like, it could be like a legal thing. So like, I'm not completing your spreadsheet. Like I see what you're trying to do, but it's not going to work. So I sent it to my supervisor because we do owe him an answer, but we can't we can't be the official, like, yeah, this is what it is, because that's not what we're certified in. So I'm pretty sure she's going to have me, probably put him in touch with the vendor, but I want to confirm that before I jump the gun. The thing is, sometimes when I get these emails, I'll have an emotional response and I'll just want to, say some snappy shit back. But I am professional. I'm going to chill and I'm going to take a moment to digest it and then, get like proper instruction before I, go crazy and stuff. So, anyways, in better news, my birthday's next week. Okay, it's my 40th, my big 40th. Oh my God. So, with that said, I am only going to be working 2 days next week, and then the rest of the week I'm off. So I'll be off until after Labor Day, which is amazing. I feel like I should have took the day after Labor Day off too, but I don't want to push it, whatever. So today's Thursday as I'm filming this video, so I am trying to get as much as I can done before I, break for like a week and go from there. So I logged in. I do have a couple of emails from customers that I got. One of them I just looked at was a customer asking for some additional living expenses. We've been advancing like a couple of months at a time of ALE for the wildfire victims. In the beginning, we did like a bigger advance, but then as time went on, you just had to prove that you paid for your rental, and then we would issue more as needed. So I'm going to work on his right now because it's likely going to take a couple days to get approved. So I'll just respond back and tell him that I'll work on it. And then I got 2 emails from a customer that okay, honey. I got 2 emails from a customer that I've been working with. She had sent in some receipts for something, and they were pretty easy to review. So I just took care of them. Like yesterday, I prepared the payment letter, reimbursed her, and we're good to go. So I'm pretty sure she's just saying thank you or something. So yeah. That is pretty much it. But yeah, I will get back to you guys, in a little bit when we get to work. And I'll let you guys know how the day is going on. Okay, hey y'all. So it's been a little bit. I just wanted to kind of check in with you guys and let you know what is going on. So I have an insured who is working with one of our abatement vendors for the cleaning. The abatement vendors are also assisting with the content. So they are doing the disposal of contents that have been contaminated with lead or any other like metal. And they're helping to do the sorting. So they'll prepare the report, dispose of the items that are contaminated, and then they also offer cleaning of the items that are salvageable. So this guy is working with one of our vendors that is a nonstop shop, because not all abatement vendors will assist with contents. Whole other story. This particular one does. So they sent in their total loss like spreadsheet, and it's very extensive because it's the whole house. So that's really what's going on with a lot of these places. Since the whole home is affected, like even if there's no burn damage, a lot of times the whole home is affected in regards to content. So they went through everything and they sent me this list, and it's categorized by each room. So like master bathroom, master bedroom, kitchen, dining room, all that stuff. And this is a really huge house, really huge house. So it's a lot of items on there. So when we send the document to the pricing vendor goes through each item like one by one. They create a spreadsheet, or not really a spreadsheet. It's like a document that they create in Xactimate, and they assign a market price to it, and then they put depreciation on it. So depending on the type of policy the customer has, we will either pay actual cash value only. Actual cash value is just basically like the replacement value less depreciation. Or if they have replacement costs, we pay the actual cash value up front, and then once they show that they purchased the item, then we can reimburse the depreciation part. So if anybody needs clarification on that, let me know. I'd be more than happy to go into like more detail, because I know that can be kind of tricky. But yeah, so this guy had like several questions, and it's funny because we've had detailed conversations throughout this process on how the contents work, and he's so concerned about not getting paid properly for the content. And my thing is, I completely understand that, but I guess for me, I'm just like, allow us to price them, and then not getting like if you're not getting what you want, then talk mess. But you're talking mess and we haven't even started. Like we literally just got the list back. I just reached out to you to tell you, hey, I'm sending it to the pricing vendor. And he's already like, well, what if this and what if that? And I'm just like, I mean, bro, I get it, but like we can't really deal with that until we get there, And then also there's like special limits on certain things. So I do need to actually put that in the file and let the vendor know, because they don't know the limit. So whole other thing. But what I wanted to talk about right now outside of that is my idea for like inspection videos. And when I say inspection videos, I mean like I would go into like a room in either my house or my sister's house or whatever, and just kind of give you guys like a visual on like how I would inspect the bathroom, how I would inspect the bedroom, something like that. I'm trying to kind of conceptualize it and put it together and come up with like scenarios. So let me know if there is anything that you specifically want to see. Right now, in my mind, I'm thinking like, the most common losses that I get out, like obviously outside of the wildfires, would be like a failed plumbing thing. So like a failed angle stop, a busted pipe, something like that. So I was just gonna kind of like recreate, like, okay, if it's a failed angle stop, this is what you want to look for. It's what you want to take pictures of. You want to ask the customer this. Show you guys how we take pictures and things like that. Because I know when I was first starting out as an adjuster, it's not that that was super hard, but I did like take pictures that I thought would be sufficient, but then I would get back, and then my supervisor would be going through the pictures, and they're like, "Oh, well, did you capture this? Did you look at this?" And I'm like, "No, I didn't look at it." And then also too, like when you're working claims, and like if a loss happens in one of the rooms, you do have to consider the surrounding rooms. If there's like a shared wall and things like that. So let me know if there's anything specifically that you want to see, if you have a claim scenario that you want to have me talk about and, potentially show how to inspect. I'm trying to diversify the content, and, I'm here to help the adjusters. So let me know. But anyways, yeah, so again, I just wanted to check in and let y'all know like kind of what's going on, what I'm working on. There's like a few like loose ends I need to tie up before next week. And with tomorrow being Friday, the time it goes by quick, and I'm going to be out again for like a week. And I just don't want whoever is backing me up to have a bunch of, questions and stuff from customers that feel like they've been abandoned. So I'm trying to like let people know, hey, I'm going to be out. So if you need something, you need to let me know within the next couple of days. But anyways, I'll be back. So while I'm messing around, I completely forgot to give you guys an update on the kid, because duh, I'm doing a day in the life working from home with a small child, okay? So if y'all been watching me for a long time, you know I've been working from home with him since he was like a baby. Like when I first started doing these videos, first started doing these videos, I want to say it was like 2020, 2021-ish or whatever, when I was doing like, you know, working from home stuff. And at that time I was strictly working from home because we were like deep in the pandemic, and a lot of daycares were closed. Also, he couldn't talk, and so kind of my rule of thumb was like I didn't really want to put him in daycare when he couldn't talk. I did have a moment where I was forced to put him in a daycare at one point, just because, you know, my siblings and, you know, my family was still working. I didn't really have anybody. My husband and I didn't have anybody to watch him like that during the day while we worked. So he did go into a daycare, but that was like so short lived. It's, I could low-key do a story time on that. It was so funny. It was like a week, literally. And I think the lady just could not handle my son. You know, he was very clingy. And she basically like dropped him after a week. And then literally the week after that, the world shut down. So there's that. But anyways, these days it's a little bit easier to work from home with him because he's a little more self-sufficient. And, you know, all you got to do is just put on a show or give him a game and he's occupied. And so that's kind of what's going on. Like I was saying earlier, he didn't really feel that well. So I gave him some meds, gave him his breakfast and a juice, and now he's just chilling. So y'all probably hear it in the background, or you may not, because I do have my headphone in, but he's watching a show, sitting on the side of the couch, honestly living his best life, you know. So I basically just like check in with him, you know, every little bit, make sure he's still over there chilling. And, you know, if he needs something, then he's more than happy letting me know. So that's basically what I do. I just try to keep him entertained and through as much as I can while I do have downtime, because he's 6. So he's at that point where, you know, it's mommy, what about this? And mommy, how about that? And mommy, how about this? So if I do need to make calls, I try to make it when um I'm not in that space where I'm getting a bunch of questions, because if you have little kids, you know, they don't care. They'll ask you questions while you on the phone. Okay. And I've definitely gone through that before, but you know, it is what it is. We do what we got to do as parents and we make that money. So yeah, let me go on ahead and get back to work. I know I said I was going to do that, but I was like, oh, I got to speak on the kid because Doug's here. You okay? You sure? I'll make you some tea, okay? I'll make you some ginger tea. Come in, come in. There's your okay. You think you're gonna be all right? Hmm? You think you're gonna be all right? Oh, you're gonna be okay. All right, y'all. So it's been a little bit. I have been in kid comfort mode because his throat is sore. So made him some tea with some honey, and it's funny because he drank it and said, "Mommy, this didn't work." I'm like, "It's not a miracle drug, you know. It's supposed to coat your throat, and over time, you know, you should feel some relief." So yeah, there's that. But he did ask me for some Jello, and I got these little sugar-free Jellos from Walmart. So I'm about to give him that. It's like a little snack because it's kind of like mid-morning now, and you know, we just been moving and shaking. So right now at work, I am updating some reserves. So I have a customer that has some HVAC work that needs to be done. His vendor reached out to me saying that the HVAC needs to be replaced. And so I did the research and all that, and it looks like it does need to be replaced. He also has some electrical work that needs to be done. So we got that approved. And I looked at the reserves and I just don't have enough. So I want to go on ahead and get that updated. Because like I said, I'm going to be out of the office. And so I want to try to get as much of these things approved and going before I head out. So then once I get the billing, then I'll be ready to go. Also, he has a vendor that's doing his content. And so they sent me an email with a total loss report, but they said it's one of 5 documents. So I'm not sending it over to our pricing vendor just yet because, like, why? You know, like I'm gonna wait until I have all the documents so I can just send it all at once. I'm that kind of adjuster. Like, don't send me stuff in pieces. If we can help it, I know that things come up, but if you can send it to me all at one time so we can get this moving, that's really how I prefer things. What you trying to show me? Oh, paper plane. Okay. Okay. Thank you, honey. His teacher made him a paper plane yesterday, so he's just so you know, ecstatic about it. And I'm like, you know, we had these back in the day. This is something that we had, okay? So anyways, let me go ahead and get him his Jello. I'm not even hungry right now. I probably won't eat until lunchtime. Normally I would be trying to have me a little snack, but I don't want anything. I'm just kind of, I think the coffee kind of suppressed my appetite. So I'm just gonna keep working until I can't, and then we're gonna figure out lunch. Knowing him, he's gonna want like some Chick-fil-A or something like that. So I'm just kind of mentally preparing, and if he does, we gonna get Chick-fil-A. So yeah, I'll be back. All right, y'all. So I just had a whole little time right now. Let me back up a little bit. So y'all know I'm home with the kids today, and we needed to eat lunch. So he asked me for the chicken that I made last night. And I knew it wasn't a lot left, so I figured that my husband took the rest to work, and that's exactly what happened. So he was hot. He was mad. He said his dad stole the chicken. I said, it wasn't really stealing. He took what was in there that was available to take for, to eat for lunch. So with that said, I asked him, like, what can I do? Like, what else do you want? Of course, you know what he wanted, Chick-fil-A. I think the last time I did a video with him, that is what we ordered. So they have this like chicken fillet. It's just the chicken, like no bread or anything like that. It's just like the chicken fillet. And that's what he wanted. So I got that with his little cookie. I have like some, other fruit here. So that's what I'll give him. And, we'll go from there. Got myself my little meal, call it a day. Now, Chick-fil-A has an app, if you don't know. Pretty sure anybody that's familiar with Chick-fil-A knows they have an app. But I decided to order through the app today so I could use my little points. So I ordered through the app, and you can do delivery, and it'll come through DoorDash. So they get here. Now, the thing is, there's only like a little small space where you can tell them like the directions to get inside of your home. So I filled out those directions to the best of my ability, giving as much information as possible. Of course, the person gets here and they're like, oh, I'm here. So I'm thinking they're just telling me that they, pulled in the gate and they're about to come to my unit. I had to go all the way outside. Now, my son had taken off his clothes, so he was just sitting here in like an undershirt and his underwear. So I had to put him on his outfit and then walk all the way outside, which is not a big deal. But when you have kids, it just makes everything a little bit longer because I can't leave him. He's too little for me to just leave him inside. Anything can happen. So I gotta bring him with me. So I get him outside. Of course, it's a hot ass day. So I almost started sweating like immediately upon going outside. So
already sweating.
he said he already sweating. So you already know. But anyways, we got our food. I have about.
I'm already sweating from all that hot.
He said he already sweating from all that hot. I guess he means all that heat. So I have about like 20 minutes or so before I officially go out to lunch, but I wanted to make sure that the food was here for us. So I think I'm going to just like eat at my desk because I'm actually pretty hungry. I know he's pretty hungry. So I'm going to just go on ahead and get him going and then do a couple more things before I log out. I'll come back after I eat to kind of let you guys know what's been happening and, just like other little assignments I've been working on. What's up, you guys? So I'm still on lunch. I have about like 20 minutes left. Since the food got here like a little bit before lunch started, I was able to eat for the most part, get him situated. He ate. He's now drinking his little juice and watching his show. So I just wanted to pop on real quick and, check in. But basically, when I have my son at home with me, I do try to make sure that I'm taking my break so I can like sit with him. He is one of those kids that wants to be sat with. So I just make sure that on my lunch breaks and, little breaks and stuff, I will just sit and chill with him, kind of like have that little quality time. Also, he wanted me to come with him to his room so he could find a toy. And it was funny because I was on the phone with my mom, so I had to go upstairs and I was sitting there with him and it was a break. But I'm like, boy, I got to get back to work. He thinking it's just a free for all. So yeah. Anyways, I was going to tell y'all about a little situation that happened actually. Here he go. So I had a little situation, yesterday. No, it was the day before yesterday. So in California, if you're an hourly worker, you have to clock out before the 5th hour unless you sign like a meal waiver or I forgot there's like another thing. But basically, if you don't clock out before that 5th hour, then the company owes you a penalty hour. So I usually log in at 7:30, so I need to log out.
Better.
I'm glad you feel better, honey. Let me finish, okay? So I usually log out by like 12:25-ish. As long as I log out by 12:29, I'm good. So I was like putting a note in a file and I had the clock out screen open, but I wasn't paying attention. And by the time I looked up, it was 12:30 on the dot. So I went on ahead and hurried up and clocked out. And I was like praying that I didn't get a notice about like justifying it because they've been sending out emails, whatever. So the next morning when I came in, I didn't see anything. So I was like, cool, I'm in the clear. But like around 1:30, I did get an email saying to justify, like, was this an accident or whatever? And the reason why I was concerned is like, it's not something I do all the time, but my supervisor sent a message in our group chat saying to like, watch out for these, these notifications, make sure that you're clocking out on time, because I guess it was happening to like a lot of my coworkers, and she was getting talked to. So I felt so bad. So I called her. I was like, "Hey, like, don't kill me, but this is what happened." And she was fine. She was just like, just fill out the little justification or whatever, and just watch it next time. But like, it wasn't a big deal. So I was tripping for no reason. Basically, what I'm gonna do now is set myself a little alarm so I don't have these problems moving forward. But let's see. Well, I'll tell y'all about, what I'm working on when I get back to the desk, because I'm trying to enjoy my lunch. But I just want to let y'all know like what was going on with that and what I'm doing with the kid, because you got to tend to the kid when they're here. All right, y'all. So this is my second time trying to film this clip because I got a call in the midst, but back from lunch. But I'm extremely tired. Like, I don't know. I think it's because of the heat, honestly, because we did go outside for a little bit, and not even that long, but it was just really hot, and then it was hot inside. So I just turned on the air a little bit ago, and when it's like warm, it just like zaps your energy. So I literally feel like I've lived like 2 days in one. It's crazy. So I had to make myself some rise. Um, I think I was telling you guys before that like usually I'll have my main cup of coffee in the morning, and then after a couple hours, and I will have like a cup of rise so I can have some focus to get through the rest of the day. So just wanted to kind of update you on what has transpired since I last talked to you guys while I was working. But basically, I have excuse me, I have a public adjuster claim, and she reached out to me on two things. So she sent me an email asking about some testing from one of our vendors. Now, I believe that I didn't get this testing, or else I would have issued the payment. But I guess they sent her the invoice, and so she's asking for us to pay it. So I'm gonna take care of that, make sure that we have the report, and then pay it. And then she sent me another email basically saying that she was contesting the repair estimate. Now, they used one of our vendors for the lead abatement cleaning preparation. So for the structure and for the contents. The issue is that one, we're taking the security deposit, which is huge, out of the contents portion. So there's going to be a lot that the customer is going to be responsible for out of pocket up front. And then two, the vendor even though this is our vendor, the vendor provided a range. The vendor said that the cost of cleaning contents and disposing shouldn't be any more than 100, like it was like 100 or something thousand. It was a guesstimate. So, you're going to have to incur it and then send us over the invoice. That's not how this works. They're thinking that like they give us this estimate and we're just going to go on ahead and pay it. And that's not how it works. So I do need to put together a letter, just kind of partially denying some of the items that they're asking for, and then letting them know the items that we can assist with. We'll just need some like additional information and, more concrete numbers. So that's it. I'm going to kind of work on that probably for the next hour or so, because I do want to get this one going. That customer is in housing until I believe like February next year. They just secured housing, and it's so funny. They were on us, like trying to get us to approve like just crazy housing with like different amenities that they did not have in their home. Yes, baby.
I can't have this email.
All right. So, anyways, I am going to go on ahead and just work on that. And then obviously still tending to the child. He's in the background, and he had stripped down his little underclothes. So that's why I'm kind of moving around. So he's not on camera or whatever. But yeah, there we go. So I will be around, and I'll get back with you guys in a little bit and let you know how far I get. Since we are kind of approaching the end of the business day, I don't know how much I'm going to get through, but I'm going to try to get through as much as I can with this particular file. All right, you guys. So it is finally the end of the workday. It is about 4:07, and I got like 10 minutes left, but I'm probably going to do just a couple more minutes past that, because I have a couple of things that I need to just like finalize, like a couple of invoices that I want to pay. So that public adjuster claim, I was able to get through most of those documents and send off my payment request. And so I wrote like a whole novel in there. So I'm really hoping that that's all I need to do to get everything approved. If not, I'm sure I'll find out within the next day or two. But yeah, it was a pretty productive day. Hold on, boy, let me finish this. it was a pretty productive day despite the fact that I was home with the kid. So I do want to say that I think my method of like making sure that he is occupied, he's got an iPad, and then obviously we have the TV. So making sure he's doing all that. I know some people don't like, the whole screen time thing, but he does really well in school. And, when he comes home, we do allow him to do that stuff. And if I'm just going to be real, I got to get my work done. And today was a day off for him. So I just want to let him have that, because school starts back in a couple of weeks, and at that point, then the real routine is going to start. So he's happy, he's fed, he's feeling a little bit better, so he'll likely be back at school tomorrow. So yeah, it was successful and it was good, and I was able to get some things done that needed to be done before I go on my vacation next week. All right, honey. He says the level that he's doing is hard. He's playing a game on his iPad. But anyways, if you guys enjoyed this video, definitely go on ahead and give it a thumbs up. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm. If you've made it this far and have not subscribed, definitely go on ahead and click that subscribe button below. Turn on your notifications so you don't miss anything from me. And with that being said, you guys have an amazing day, and I'll see you next time.